Right. So yesterday in Germany, in Munich, there was a very tragic event with an Afghan who literally drove a Mini Cooper in a demonstration of people. And yet again, we saw the same ridiculous reaction by the mainstream media and by people, and by leftists especially. But before we say more about that, we have merch to shill. We have here wonderful Islander t-shirts. And is it now time for people to make some? Is it time for people to make some orders?
I mean, yes, but that's every day.
Exactly. So it's order day, order Islander too, and we have good news that will soon arrive. Right. So here, let's talk about some bad news, and let's bear the context in mind. So in the last 12 months, we know at least 5 major terrorist attacks and terrorist acts in Germany. So we had Michael Sturzenberger, who was attacked by an Islamist. We had the Solingen stabbings at the Diversity Festival. We had the terrorist incident in Magdeburg.
Is that the one with the car that drove?
The one with the car, and an Islamist drove the Saudi Arabian drove the car into the crowd. Then we had the stabbings in Aschaffenburg, where another Islamist killed an old man, a 42-year-old man, and also he stabbed a baby to death, the year-old. And yesterday we had this really tragic event where a person, I think he was an Afghan who literally drove a Mini Cooper in a demonstration, which was a leftist demonstration, if you believe, by a group called Verdi MWR, which I'll tell you in a bit what's happened. So whenever we see attacks like these, we see a particular pattern. I have 5 stages there. You can make some amendments. So for instance, a criminal act is committed. Politicians express their sympathies to the families of the victims. Stage 3, the crime is portrayed as an isolated incident committed by an individual with mental health problems. Stage 4, mainstream media and politicians will scaremonger about the far right, and then they forget and then move on.
I think the only amendment I'd make is stage 1 is to say that it definitely wasn't a terrorist attack. They know nothing about the incident, but they know it's not terrorist related.
Exactly. Yes, there is constant speculation about the motives.
Yeah.
The police says that we can't establish what the motive might have been.
But we know it wasn't terrorism.
Al-Qaeda, Hamburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there a link to the religion of peace?
He was just yelling Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
He was just an asylum seeker from an Islamic country.
Yes. But you don't know, he was driving a car, and cars have a radicalizing effect on people, especially sometimes, there's so much traffic.
Yeah.
There are traffic laws. I mean, driving is radicalizing people.
And where did he buy the car? You know, who sold him the car? Because they got some
car
responsibility.
dealer, yeah.
You suggested Amazon before.
No,
Is he called the Mini Cooper killer?
Yeah,
And also, some knives also have a voice of their own. They have a spirit of their own, voices talking to people, just animistic ways of viewing the world. Right. So what happened yesterday was that the driver was arrested immediately, and it was confirmed instantly by the police that he was an Afghan. And there was speculation about his identity and about stuff. So there are several rumors about his age. Some people say 24, others 27, others 30. I think it's safe to say somewhere in his 20s. Right. So let's see here the Verdi group. Let's see here the Munich car attack. The media. They're talking about a car.
Yeah.
A car.
Yeah, the car.
Car did it. So
Car attack.
Suspected Munich car attack. There's nothing suspected about it. There's footage. People know that it happened, and it wasn't the car. The car was driven.
Actually, you've got to give Sky News some credit there. Children among 30 injured as car driven into Munich crowd in suspected attack.
Yeah.
Implying a person was in control of the car and making those decisions.
Yes.
So good start.
Obviously, the editor missed that bit.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Some of the headlines are good, but most of them are not. And they say Munich car attack latest. Suspect name. Yeah. Then we have Munich car ramming that injured 36, investigated as Islamic extremism. At least 20 injured.
Car convert to Islam, NBC News.
Yeah, and here, DW, I think that's for Deutsche Welle. At least 20 injured after car drives into crowd in Munich.
The car was
Self-driving
facing
car?
east when it came into
Yeah.
stop.
Maybe it's one of Musk's self-driving Teslas.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they should ban cars just
Yeah.
like they called to ban knives
Knives,
after
yeah.
the knives attacks. Yeah.
Or
Ignoring-
tweets.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there are people behind tweets. You know that.
Yeah.
But not behind cars and knives.
I hate this weakness.
Right. So we have now stage 2. We have politicians making mistakes and making. Sorry, that's a slip of the tongue. Yeah. They make statements of sympathy, and here we have Olaf Scholz, who's the leader of the SPD party, the current chancellor of Germany, saying he must be punished and he must leave the country.
What an absolutely weak response
Yes.
to a man who murders like however many people, including children, by deliberately driving a car through a crowded area.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he must be deported. Deported? You should be swinging me.
Yeah.
You know, what are you talking about? You know, oh, you're going home now. Oh, no.
Yeah.
What the punishment? I've got to go home to my wife and kids.
Yeah.
Piss off. Like, we're going to hang you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
he,
I've been saying for many months now that they should be deported in an urn.
Yeah, exactly. Just, I'm sorry. I know this profound weakness pisses me off.
So he has a history of doing this, and this is the cover from Der Spiegel from October 2023, where he says we have to deport people more often and faster.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, but before they commit crimes.
Yeah.
Yes, but the point is that he doesn't do anything about it.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's entirely
Ted Cruz
lukewarm.
in Germany.
Lip service.
Yes, and also there are federal elections in 9 days in Germany on the
Yeah.
23rd of February.
Yeah.
And we need to bear in mind that his party rejected the proposal by CDU, the Christian Democrat Union, to toughen up migration policies. So he makes statements of this sort after attacks, but when the push comes to shove, he does not.
You only have to look at. I mean, you're pointing out a German here, but you only have to look at Starmer laying a wreath in Southport, knowing that there was a biological weapon, and that he'd had a history, and that Prevent hadn't stopped him, and his father hadn't stopped him, and in fact it was a terrorist incident.
Exactly. So
But the flowers, the candles, the mock cards and the mock flowers that are put there by agents, I'll put it no stronger than that, it's all a pretense. It's all a show.
isn't it?
Theatre, yeah.
So they've got a script that they just run through whenever this happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So the Taliban accepted that they could cooperate with Germany if Germany decides to deport Afghans who cause trouble.
I don't mean to laugh, but this is really funny because it kind of implies that the Taliban care more about Europeans than European governments do.
Yeah.
Like the Taliban, like, what's happened? Oh, that's awful. Do you want to send them back? Like,
No.
yeah,
It's fine. We'll
it's
keep
like,
them.
no, of course we can't do that. Like, God, how are the Taliban more empathetic towards us than our own goddamn?
I also like this is a bit. I mean, I don't like it, but you have to laugh a bit.
You can't help but laugh at this.
You can't help but laugh. It's just the
Stupid.
This is called trench humour.
Yeah.
the people who try to make a statement and just appear as
Yeah.
strong people in the case of the Taliban.
Yeah,
in
the
Europe. It's
grown-ups in the room are the Taliban.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
the grown-ups here. Just send them back. It's time. Send them back.
Well, they've probably got
No more Germans have to die.
Yeah.
Never again. Never again is now
Don't look back at
the
that.
Taliban statement.
God.
Right. And all this has people really upset with Olaf Scholz. As we know, he was confronted by a grandma who asked him, aren't you morally complicit in every murder that has occurred? And this actually shows the algorithm in their minds. It's just, they are sort of programmed to not care about it and just bury it and move
I assume
on.
he just said, of course I am. I'm a German politician.
Exactly. Right. And we need to bear in mind that he does this and he is losing
Good.
0.8 in just 30 days. So all this empty virtue signaling is actually not working.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as Starmer.
Exactly. And
I'm sure this won't improve the AFD's chances.
no. Here we see development since the last election. they are predicted to get at least a 10% boost, which is precisely because they are addressing issues that people want, that people are concerned about. And what is interesting is that we need to show what the CDU did about a month ago. They made the proposal, but when there was a lot of protest against them for having passed the proposals with the support of AFD members, they suddenly backed down and it was voted against, and they made all kind of ritualistic, let's say, mannerisms.
Yeah,
They seemed very cultist to me, I must say, saying we are never going to do this with AFD again. So they care much more about their shenanigans and their buffer zone
They
policy
care more about the cordon sanitaire
than about
they do
the
general
actual consequences of these policies. Right. So the AFD made a statement. The driver who drove a car into a Verdi demonstration in Munich is Afghan and 26. Prediction: like the perpetrator in Aschaffenburg, he will also be known to the police in CSU-governed Bavaria and will be required to leave the country and will be classified as mentally ill. Now, a lot of it was a very accurate prediction, as you will see. Right, so,
I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny, but it's just, of course it is.
Yeah. It's funny how predictable it is. And this isn't just Germany. This is everywhere you go. You know, it's always reactionary. It's never, you know, no one's ever dealing with stuff before it happens, stopping it happening. It's always after the event. And even after the event, they still don't mean anything that they're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So before when they caught him, he was shouting Allah, and there are several reports that he was sharing Islamist propaganda online.
Oh, really?
But he didn't have the usual profile. He was a bodybuilder, and he had around 100,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram, and that's where he posted such content. But before we say more about him, there's the main problem here. According to Politico, Germany's migrants are terrified.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, thoughts and prayers with the Muslim community at this time.
Yes. So according to Politico, wasn't that the newspaper that was being funded by USA?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Just came to mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Right. They say assaults stoke fear among Germany's migrants in the wake of an attack on a Christmas market in Magdeburg. Migrants in the city are being targeted by right-wing extremists.
All you had to do is not murder people.
They were so frightened for the Christmas market that on New Year's Eve they went and started raping and assaulting people.
Yeah.
That's how frightened they were.
It's a way of grief. They say grief strikes people differently. Different ways.
It just didn't have to be 5 in 2 months. You know what I mean? You just not commit terror attacks.
It's like fitness. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Depends on who you are.
My problem with it, just to say really quickly, is that they always say about the migrants, but why, you know, if they want that sort of sympathy and support, then they should maybe call out this stuff within their community, because too many of them just stay silent, and we know this.
Oh, do you mean like the grooming and rape gangs?
Absolutely, and many other examples. You know, the community keeps quiet because obviously they're not allowed to tell tales on people. You know, so they do have to bear some responsibility in staying silent.
Exactly.
I mean, this guy got 100,000 followers by posting Islamic, like almost jihadi stuff. Okay, you know, you could have mentioned it.
So
the authorities.
There are reports that he was an asylum seeker whose application got rejected.
Oh, wow.
Do I color you shocked?
Yeah. Does that even mean anything now, though, if it gets rejected? Because you hear about them getting rejected 3 or 4 times before they go on to do this. So if it gets rejected, what does that actually mean? Because it doesn't mean that they've got to leave.
No, it means they get to live in Germany forever.
So it's just like unofficial acceptance.
Well, yeah.
The issue
Same
is that, the issue is that the people who govern Germany and Europe, and I would say also the UK, they don't care about the law. They just have a really weird, it's like a Lynchian movie. They try to interpret it their own way. So for instance, ECHR Article 8 doesn't preclude deportations. It says all of the people have the right to private and public life, subject to considerations of national security and public safety. So they have a really weird way of interpreting it. But also, the deportation orders are like milk. They expire at some point. So they expire and then they do nothing. They don't enforce the law. Right, so they say here Farad N was reportedly known by local police for drugs and theft and is believed to have accelerated his vehicle into the crowd of 1,000 strikers at around 30 miles per hour, according to Swiss publication Blick. Terrorism experts are investigating the suspect and there are indications of an extremist background.
Anyone foreign who commits a crime should just be deported.
So he applied for asylum in 2016 when he arrived in Germany and that was rejected. And they say, however, the Afghan reportedly received a so-called toleration permit from the General Federal Office for Migration and Refugees, which meant that his deportation was suspended until 2023 when he got a residence and work permit until April 2025.
Just why?
It's just...
We don't want you here, but we're not going to get rid of you.
And they say it is understood that Farad N worked for a security service and participated in bodybuilding competitions in his free time. He regularly shared pictures of fitness journey with his more than 100,000 followers across Instagram and TikTok. Right. So it's yet again another failure of the migration policies of European nations, and again the same tone-deaf reaction. But we have an even more tone-deaf reaction here by leftists, and I think that really leftists are, how should I say, it's just a very problematic ideology, an evil ideology, because they claim to care about social ideals, but they don't care about people. And I think that says it all. It means that they don't care about anything. And what happened here? The family and friends of the victims gathered to make a protest, and they actually said, no, perhaps the policy of open borders doesn't have good consequences for our people. And let us say they were a leftist trade union. It's not just saying that they were leftists. They suffered the consequences of the policies that they themselves support. And the friends and family of the victims support, they lamented, and the far left militant extremists took the streets of Munich and intimidated them and started calling them fascists.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Left-wing policy, left-wing consequence, then leftists shouting fascist at you because you don't want everyone to die.
Absolutely spot on.
But
Insufferable.
I think this shows inhumanity on another level because, okay, you know what I stand for, and obviously I'm very much anti-left, but
I'm in favor of this.
There is a world of difference between going and screaming fascists at people who have different opinions than you have, and quite another to do it to people who grieve about their families and are scared about their families when they are grieving. It's just, and especially they're supposed to do it. Especially they're supposed to have been friends up until yesterday.
You've seen it at the Southport trial, didn't you? You had the counter protest there where there was friends and families and people of the community affected by that terrorist attack, and you had the far left turn up to counter protest them outside the court.
This isn't a protest. You can't counter protest this. You're just evil.
And that's the thing, because all else, the policy is right. That's what they think. Nothing can touch it, and anything that does impact, you've got to call them brand them fascist.
Yes, exactly.
There's no number of people that need to die before they change their mind on it.
Because the concept of trial and error is foreign to them. And I want to end with another note, which actually supports what we have been saying here in the last minutes. This group left X on last August. They made an announcement, and they say that we are leaving X because due to increasing negativity, the unfriendly climate, and the new owner Elon Musk, we're leaving this platform. So
146 views.
Yes, but what I want to say is that there are people who are even leftists. Okay, they shield themselves from the world. They cut themselves. They cut communication from the world, and their policies have real life consequences. So
that new platform, Blue Sky, should be called Blue Sky, because it's just an echo chamber of lefties.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and that this is happening in the UK as well. My MP, Karen Harris, the one who regularly falls asleep in the Commons. You've probably seen her purple hair, glasses, looks a little bit like Dame Edna.
Works hard.
Yeah, she's left. She left X because she can't. The abuse that she's been getting, which is actual, just normal criticism as you get as an MP, is too much, and she's gone. Not available or not happy to accept scrutiny
It's just I don't want people to be ran over by cars. I just don't want it.
Racist.
Far right.
Yeah.
And folks, thanks for watching. If you would like more from us, you'd like to support us, help us keep the lights on, because of course we're still demonetized on this channel, go over to lotuseaters.com and sign up for only £5 a month and watch Beau's unbelievably detailed series on the fall of the Roman Republic. Now, you can easily find an hour-long video which will tell you the broad strokes of what happened with the triumvirate and the civil war and the death of Pompey and how Caesar gets stabbed, etc., etc. But Beau has done something in the order of about 20 hours of content going into the most minute details on this. Now, I appreciate that's not everyone's cup of tea, but there's a huge amount in there you will not be aware of, and I personally have been really enjoying it. So come and support us, sign up, and watch the best stuff that we have. Also, go and follow us on lotuseaters_com on X, and we'll see you next time.